The Chicago Bulls have had a challenging season, but they have had some signs of growth. We're going to be talking about Buzelis, Coby White, and the rest of the Chicago Bulls, and why we should be optimistic about the signs of growth that we have seen with this team moving forward. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe, and you have found yourself on another episode of Bulls Digest. And so today, we are looking at signs of growth for the Chicago Bulls, and I think that with these signs of growth, this is something that the Chicago Bulls certainly can build with. And I think that as they continue to really put this roster together and move in the right direction, this is something that is going to help this team really win for the long term. And so before we go ahead and jump into the content for today, wanted to first remind you that 71.7% of you that watch are not subscribed to the channel. So make sure that you go ahead and you slam dunk on that subscribe button, as it means a lot to us here at Bulls Digest as we try to reach our end of the season subscriber goal. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the content for today. And so I wanted to start with the players that I think have really shown some growth. And I think that this is certainly going to help the Chicago Bulls as they continue to hopefully get this team moving in the right direction and getting back to playing some contending basketball again. And that is with Buzelis. Look, I think that Buzelis and his growth has been great. I think that Buzelis has done a terrific job in really just taking advantage of his opportunity that he has been given. And so with Buzelis, let's start with the scoring, because just this last month, there was all but 2 games he was in double figures, and so we're seeing that Buzelis can be a double figure type of score for us, and so that's good. I think that that's something that's going to get even better. As far as the numbers were concerned, look, last month he was at 12.8 points a game. Already this month he's at 15.3 points a game. Let's see what happens as the month goes, but I love the way that he's done it, like, and how he scored. I think that Buzelis is really showing us that his offensive bag can be deep, because he's shown the ability to really get to the basket in some of his step throughs and things like that. He's been creative that way. We know that he's terrific in the transition and filling the lane, and so he's been spectacular there. And I think that I love his step back as well. His step back has been nice, and so look, Buzelis can score in many different ways. And when you look at the field goal percentage and what he's really been putting up, look, I'm going back. I looked at just his numbers. So starting in November, he was at 39.7. Not bad. He went to 36.1, a slight dip, but then January 47.1, February 50%, and right now in this month, it's a small sample size, he's at 46.3%. And so that is what I love about Buzelis too. He doesn't just stand in the corner and take threes or just stand outside. Like, I think that Buzelis already has a sense of awareness as far as knowing where to get to his spots on the floor. And so I love that about Buzelis and his offensive game. And then with his three-point game, look, I think that there have definitely been signs of growth. I think that that was one of the things that was a real question mark about him coming out, of the draft, is like, man, could he really shoot the NBA three-point ball well? And I think he's done a terrific job as far as shooting the three ball. I know it hasn't been spectacular or great, but I definitely think that there's been signs of growth. I know it's been a tough month thus far, but the month is still not over. But just looking back at some of the percentages that he's had in the past, look, in December he shot 36.4%, in January he's at 39.4%, and then February he was at 31.4%. And so look, there is definitely signs that show that Buzelis can absolutely be a player that can hurt teams from deep. I think it's all about him just being confident. I've said it before that, look, when you look at his shooting form, it doesn't look broke. It looks good. I think it's just a matter of confidence, continuing to work on it, which we know Buzelis is a guy that wants to work and gets better. And so I think you're seeing the signs of growth there. And then with the rebounding, look, as he's had this opportunity, his rebounds have gone up. He's at 6 rebounds a game. And then you love the assists. His assists right now are at 2.7 assists. And what that shows is just the ability to be a creator, right, off of the dribble and things like that. And so he's very comfortable with the basketball in his hand, and you see that his handle has certainly gotten a lot tighter. I think that if you have a tight handle, essentially you can get to anywhere on the floor, and the defense can't really disturb you there. And so we're seeing that with Modest Buzelis and his ability to be a playmaker. And so that growth is something that absolutely translates. And then we talk about him blocking shots. We say it all the time. Look, he leads the team in block shots. Currently, right now, he's at 1.7 block shots. And so you love that. And I've said this before. Look, as his strength gets, as he gets better and as he gets stronger, then defensively, I think he's going to get even better. And I think the same is true for his offense as well. As he gets stronger there, I think he's going to start to put defenders into the basket. And I also think he's going to draw more contact and get to the free throw line, perhaps get some more and ones and things like that. And so, look, Modest Buzelis, his growth certainly translates for the long term for this team. And I think that he's going to be a player that is going to help this team be responsible for turning this thing around. I think he's going to be responsible for this team winning a lot of games. I'm not sure he's going to be a franchise player or not. Like, I definitely think he's trending towards just being a great player. Whether he becomes a franchise player or not, I mean, that's something that we have to see. But I think that the sky's the limit for Modest Buzelis. And I think with this growth here, this is huge for the Chicago Bulls, because now you can really build with Modest Buzelis and really build out this front court. And that's something that this team absolutely needs. And so it's a great sign that you actually hit in the draft with Modest Buzelis and you're seeing the growth with this opportunity that he's getting. And so next up, another player that I think has shown some growth, and it's been in a way that it's not necessarily the numbers, but I do think it is something that translates, especially if you move forward with him. And that is going to be with Coby White. Look, I think that we all know that Coby White can certainly score the basketball. I think that that has been the given. And I think that really the issue here is just, can he put it together consistently? I think that if Coby White can just put it together consistently, like, I think that there's just no question that Coby White is a guy that you just continue with here. And so, look, over his last 4 games, look, he's had 20 plus points. And so, look, he had 24 against the Raptors there. He had 26 against the Pacers. He had 25 against the Cavs. And he had a career best 44 against the Orlando Magic last night. So just talking about the scoring ability. But the growth, I think, comes from the fact that, look, he has had to adjust to different situations. And so what that means is, look, he started off with Zach Lavine this year. He's no longer there. And this is something that I haven't talked about on this channel. But defensively, it has changed. Like, with the things that he sees on a given night on the offensive end, like, defenses are kind of loaded up and geared towards stopping him as a scorer. And so that's been a challenge. And I think that Coby White has really tackled it just like I expect Coby White to do so. Whenever he's been challenged, he goes at it. And I think he's, for the most part, figured it out. And then with Josh Giddey in that situation, look, I think that he's done a terrific job, him and Josh Giddey. I think that they have now maybe figured it out a bit more. And I think that, we'll see what happens here over the last course of the month of the season. But if they can show that they can figure it out as a backcourt together, then I definitely think that, look, this certainly helps your future, because you know that you have a legitimate scorer and also a player that can also assist the basketball as well. And both of those players, they're certainly going to open it up for everybody else. And so I think that that is a huge plus when you see the growth there. And then I love the fact that he's had to adjust to different players. Look, there's been no Vooch as of late. He's had to adjust to the players that have come over via trade, whether it's been Zach Collins, Kevin Huerter, Trey Jones. And at times, look, they've had to step into the starting lineup, and it hasn't affected Coby White. I think that he's been special and just really adjusting to that and doing the best he can. And then from a leadership standpoint, when you listen to him and just some of his interviews and things like that, you can tell this is a guy that takes it serious with his leadership role, and he didn't shy away from it. I think he still wants to very much be a leader for this team, and so I think I see signs of growth there. And then when you look at just the numbers for Coby White, and just, you see it and you go, okay, well, it looks like that there's been like just a slight decline, but you have to think about all the factors that are playing into that, because I know you're looking at the points and you say, okay, he averaged 19.1 points last season. He's up to or down to 18.9 this season. And the season's still not over, and I think that he has a chance to maybe score some more points. I know that's not everything, but still, this just shows you how good Coby White has been in adjusted roles and still having to lead in a different way. And then when you look at his assists, look, it's down slightly from 5.1 last season down to 4.5 assists this year. And so that's not a huge issue, considering that you have Josh Giddey, who's doing a great job as far as setting the table. So that's just, a little bit of a responsibility that Coby White doesn't necessarily have to worry about as much, and he can focus and be a little bit more of a scorer. And I love the fact that he's doing a great job as far as getting to the free throw line. He's not just jacking up 3-point shots, and so he's at 89.8% from the free throw line. That's up from a season ago of 83.8, and so you love to see that. And look, he's taking more attempts from downtown, and he's at 36.7, slightly down from the 37.6. Again, the season is still here. He can still improve upon those, so not a big dip. And then he was shooting up 44.7 last year as far as his field goal percentage. He's down to 43.5% this year, so again, not a huge decline there. And then the turnovers, look, 2.1 a season ago, 2.3 this year, not huge as well. And so, look, I love the fact that the numbers have been pretty much comparatively compared to one another, and it's not a huge decline. And you're seeing that this guy has been able to step in a different role and really can show you that, look, if he can continue to play like this, it really, I think, helps the Chicago Bulls now, because they look at this backcourt and they say, okay, we have something here. How can we continue to build upon it? I think that you have more, questions answered there, right? And so that's what we want. We want to just continue to answer a lot of things. So now you can move forward with just how you can construct the roster moving forward. So, with that being said, I wanted to finish off lastly with just as a team, I think that there's been some real growth with this team. I think that this team has done a terrific job, especially as of late, just competing at a high level. And I think that regardless of who you bring in to this team, whether it's the draft, I don't care if you go out and you get Cooper Flagg at this point in time, if you're not playing the correct way, you're not having the same energy on the night-to-night basis that's necessary to win in the NBA, it's not going to matter who you bring in here via free agency or the draft. And I think that the Chicago Bulls have done a great job as far as just doing that. I think that they've been locked in and they've been just fighting their way back in some of these games, because even this last game out, they were down. They found a way to come back and win that one. You look at the Raptors game. Look, that was a game where they were down. They found a way to get it to the overtime. The Pacers game, they were down in that one. They found a way to keep it close, even though they lost that game. Same with the Cavs game. Like, we're seeing the effort level that I think is certainly going to translate with this team, and that's all about a sign of growth. And I think that as this team grows a little bit more, they're going to find ways to figure it out down the stretch. And so anyway, let me know in the comments what you think here about this. Do you think that, yes, Modest, Buzelis, Coby White, these players certainly have shown some growth, even in a tough season? Because like I said, it has been a tough season. We have been 4 of our last 14 games. We're now 25-38, currently 10th in the Eastern Conference, probably trending towards the play-in situation. But like I said, there's still been some growth here, and hopefully we can get out of that as we continue to build this team. And so, as I always say, go Bulls, and I will see you on the next one. All right, peace.